Fate has a way of balancing the scales. Chosen ones, those who scatter thorns in your path, will one day walk barefoot on the same road they tried to sabotage. The universe doesn't forget. Every betrayal, every deceitful move, and every underhanded scheme carries a cost. They thought they were writing your downfall, but instead, they were scripting their own demise. It's funny how life works, how the ones who try to bury you always end up digging their own graves. People who thrive on manipulation believe they are untouchable. They laugh, thinking they've outsmarted the game. But what they don't realize is that the game was never in their control. Their victories? Borrowed. Their illusions of power? Temporary. The same bricks they use to build their fake success will be the ones that crush them when the foundation collapses. No one outruns the consequences of their own actions. The universe ensures it. And here's the twist: they thought they could break you, silence you, control your destiny. But every attempt to sabotage you only fueled your fire. You didn't just survive, you evolved, transformed, and became something they now fear. You are the storm they never saw coming, the force they cannot control. The very power they tried to steal from you is now haunting them in ways they never imagined. They will watch from the sidelines as you rise, helpless against the weight of their own misdeeds. Every success you achieve, every step forward you take, will serve as a painful reminder that they lost. Their attempts to hinder you only pushed you toward your purpose. And now, you are unstoppable. If you know this truth, if you felt this shift, then you belong here. Like and subscribe, because this is only the beginning. Number 1, never take innocence for granted. It's the only shield standing between you and destruction. They thought your innocence was a flaw, a weakness they could twist, manipulate, and use for their own gain. But what they never understood is that your innocence wasn't just a trait. It was a force, a shield that protected not only you, but also them. They leaned on it without realizing, basked in its warmth, and thrived under its grace. But in their arrogance, they made a fatal mistake. They destroyed the very thing that was keeping them safe. At first, they felt triumphant, convinced they had won. They drained your energy, played their games, and walked away believing they had taken everything from you. But here's where they miscalculated. Your light was never dependent on them. It was something they could never steal, and without it, they're left standing in the cold, exposed to the very darkness they tried to shield themselves from. You see, innocence has a way of cushioning people from their own misdeeds. It softens the blow of their flaws, gives them a sense of balance, and, in many cases, and protects them from the worst of their own destruction. When they ripped it away, they thought they had stripped you of your power. But in truth, they stripped themselves of the one thing that kept them from spiraling. Without your light in their life, everything around them has started to dim. The very victories they once celebrated now feel hollow. The control they believed they had is slipping through their fingers. Suddenly, everything feels heavier. Conversations aren't as effortless. Opportunities are vanishing. Their world, once built on the illusion of dominance, is starting to cave in. And the cruelest part, they can't figure out why. That's the irony. They thought your innocence was a tool for them to exploit, never realizing it was the glue holding their own life together. They believed they were outsmarting you, taking from you, winning at your expense. But what they actually did was pull the pin on their own downfall. The moment they turned on you, they unknowingly invited chaos into their own lives. And now, they are unprotected, vulnerable, exposed. The universe doesn't miss these things. It allows people to set their own traps, to believe they are invincible while they dig a pit beneath their own feet. They thought they were burying you, but they were only preparing their own fall. And now, they're left standing there, shovel in hand, watching everything collapse around them. They didn't just lose you, they lost the stability that came with you. They lost the balance your presence brought into their life. They lost the shield that kept their own world from crumbling. And now, crumble it will. Because the thing about innocence, it doesn't just protect the one who carries it, it protects those who stand near it. And when they threw it away, they unknowingly threw away their own safety net. Now, all that's left for them is the free fall. Number 2, stop borrowing what you can't repay. A debt to karma will haunt you forever. They thought they were getting away with it, that manipulating your innocence came with no strings attached, that they could steal your trust, twist your kindness, and walk away without a scratch. But what they failed to realize is that every action carries a price, especially when it's built on deception. They didn't just wrong you, they signed themselves up for a debt that no amount of running can erase. Karma doesn't deal in favors or negotiations. It doesn't cut special deals or forget unpaid dues. It works on an ancient principle: whatever you take unjustly, you owe back multiplied. And they took everything they could. They exploited your goodness, played their games, and thought they were untouchable. But what they actually did was sign an invisible contract with the universe, one that demands repayment with interest. And now, the weight of that debt is closing in. At first, they convinced themselves it was nothing, that their actions had no consequences, that life would continue as usual. But then, little by little, the cracks started to show. Relationships began to falter. Opportunities slipped away. The world that once seemed to bend in their favor started turning against them. They can't see it yet, but the walls are closing in, and every step forward feels heavier than the last. They'll try to distract themselves, to pretend like the past is behind them. But that's the thing about karma. It doesn't work on their schedule. It doesn't knock. It kicks the door down when they least expect it. Just when they think they've moved on, when they believe they're in the clear, life will remind them exactly what they did. And the best part? You don't have to lift a finger. The universe is handling everything. No need for revenge, no need for wasted energy, because what's coming for them is far greater than anything you could ever orchestrate. It starts small, an unexplained tension in their relationships, a sudden loss of control, an eerie sense that something is missing. Then it grows. The opportunities they once took for granted disappear. The people who once stood by them turn cold. And before they know it, they're drowning in the very chaos they once unleashed. That's the cost of manipulation, the price of exploiting someone who was only ever good to them. And the most brutal part, they will keep paying this debt for the rest of their lives. Number 3, what you steal will destroy. You manipulated energy always comes back as chaos. Energy is a force that never vanishes. It only shifts, transforms, and finds its way back home. When they manipulated you, when they drained you of your kindness, trust, and light, they thought they were taking something for free. But nothing in this world comes without a price. They didn't just steal from you, they signed their own downfall. Because energy, once corrupted, turns against those who misuse it. And now, that stolen energy is a ticking time bomb in their life, ready to explode in ways they never saw coming. They believed they could feed off your spirit, taking what wasn't theirs, twisting your purity to fuel their selfish desires. But what they didn't understand is that energy doesn't tolerate betrayal. The very force they stole is now poisoning everything they touch. Their relationships are strained, their peace is shattered, and success keeps slipping further from their grasp. It's not bad luck, it's karma, wrapping its fingers around their world and squeezing tight. You were the source of light they secretly relied on. Even as they deceived you, even as they played their manipulative games, your energy kept them afloat. But the moment they chose to abuse it, the balance shifted. Now, that energy twisted, corrupted, and tainted by their deception is seeping into their life like a slow, unstoppable venom. Everything they try to build is crumbling. The same power they thought they could control is now working against them. And while they're drowning in their own undoing, you're rising. The energy they stole has been replaced, rebuilt, and fortified into something unbreakable. They expected you to stay broken, but instead you became sharper, wiser, and untouchable. You no longer carry the weight of their manipulation, but they will carry the burden of their own choices forever. The beauty of karma is that it doesn't just return what was taken, it magnifies it. The harm they caused, the lies they spun, the energy they drained, it all comes back, amplified. They wanted to use your power for their benefit. Instead, that same power is now their greatest curse, and there's nothing they can do to stop it. Number 4, lies can build a kingdom, but truth will burn it down. Your fake success won't last. They climbed their way up, stepping on your innocence, stealing your energy, thinking they were building something solid. But what they failed to realize is this: anything built on deception, betrayal, and manipulation is already crumbling from the inside. They strutted around like kings and queens, convinced they had secured their throne. But their empire was never built on strength. It was built on stolen bricks. And now, piece by piece, it's collapsing under its own weight. At first, everything seemed perfect for them. They smiled in your face while using you as their foundation, draining your light to build their false success. But the thing about false victories, they don't last. The cracks were always there, hidden beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to shatter. And now, it's happening slowly, painfully, and without mercy. Their relationships, built on manipulation, are starting to rot. The people who once praised them are now seeing through the illusion. Trust is disappearing. Their once loyal supporters are walking away, realizing they were never dealing with a true leader, just a master manipulator. The throne they sat on wasn't made of gold, it was made of sand, and the storm is finally here. And what's the worst part? They can't stop it. They try to hold on, to patch the holes, to keep up the illusion, but it's slipping right through their fingers. They are scrambling, blaming bad luck, blaming others, but deep down, they know. They know they cheated their way to the top, and now they are paying the price. Every lie, every deceitful move, every time they thought they had gotten away with it, it's all coming back in ways they never expected. This isn't an instant collapse. It's slow, agonizing, humiliating. The very tricks they used to climb higher are now pulling them under. And the universe, it's just watching, letting them choke on the same poison they fed others. This is the price of false victories. This is the cost of stealing from a chosen one. They never built an empire, they built a sandcastle, and karma's waves are washing it away. Let them panic, let them struggle, let them drown in the mess they created. Because you were never meant to stay beneath them. And now they are forced to watch as you rise from the ruins of everything they lost. Number 5. You can't run from yourself. Your own guilt will become your worst enemy. They can run from the people they've deceived. They can change their surroundings, distract themselves with empty pleasures, and pretend they're untouchable. But there's one thing they can never escape: their own mind. The worst punishment isn't what's happening around them. It's what's happening inside them. At first, they thought they were free. They walked away from you with a smirk, convinced they had won, convinced they had outsmarted you. But what they didn't realize was that they weren't walking away from you. They were walking straight into a prison of their own making. A prison where the walls are built from the lies they told, the bridges they burned, and the trust they shattered. And now, the silence is unbearable. During the day, they may still wear the mask. They might laugh, joke, and pretend that life is good. But the moment they are alone, when the world goes quiet, their demons come knocking. Every betrayal, every manipulative move, every selfish act plays on repeat in their mind, like a film they can't turn off. They see your face in strangers. They hear echoes of their deception in casual conversations. The peace they once took for granted has turned into suffocating guilt. And here's the cruelest part: they hold the key to their own freedom. They could admit their wrongs. They could seek forgiveness. They could own up to what they've done and start to make things right. But their pride won't allow it. They would rather suffer in silence than face the mirror and confront the truth of who they've become. So they try to numb it. They bury themselves in distractions, chase validation in all the wrong places, and drown in temporary pleasures. But nothing works. No matter where they go, no matter what they do, their mind is a relentless tormentor. They can't silence the voice that reminds them of the innocence they crushed. They can't escape the weight of their own betrayal. And that is karma in its purest form, not some external punishment, but the slow, agonizing destruction from within. You don't have to lift a finger. The universe doesn't need to intervene. The truth itself is eating them alive. And in the end, they won't just regret losing you. They'll regret ever underestimating what it means to betray a chosen one. Number 6. Suppressing someone's power will only make them stronger. You're creating the threat you fear. They saw your potential long before you did, and it scared them to death. That's why they tried to keep you small, why they manipulated you, played mind games, and chipped away at your confidence. They weren't just trying to control you, they were trying to control what you could become. Because, deep down, they knew the truth. You were always meant to rise, and that terrified them. So they planted doubt in your mind, made you question yourself, and did everything in their power to dim your light. They hoped you'd never wake up, never recognize your own strength. But life has a twisted sense of irony, doesn't it? The very pain they inflicted on you became the fuel for your transformation. Every betrayal, every moment of self-doubt, every time they tried to make you feel lesser, it all backfired. Instead of breaking you, they built you. Instead of weakening you, they hardened you. Instead of keeping you in their control, they unleashed you. And now, they are living their worst nightmare. You stand taller. Your energy is undeniable. The people who once dismissed you now hang on your every word. The ones who tried to make you feel invisible are now forced to watch you shine. They see it in your eyes, the fire, the power, the knowing, and they can't handle it. They don't just regret what they did, they fear it. Because now, they can't control you. And worse, they can't compete with you. They tried so hard to keep you in a box, but now that box has shattered, and you are free, unapologetic, unstoppable, and that's their real punishment. Not karma, not even your success. Their punishment is knowing that they did this to themselves. They fed the very fire that now burns them. They shaped the force that now overshadows them. They tried to silence you, but in the process, they made you louder than ever. And now, there's no going back. Their worst fear, it wasn't losing you. It was you realizing who you were meant to be. And that fear, it's now their reality. Number 7. Betrayal leaves a curse. The trust you shatter will haunt every relationship you build. They thought they could shatter your trust without consequence, that their betrayal would fade into the background like a whisper in the wind. But trust isn't just a word, it's a force, a foundation, a silent contract between souls. And when they broke it, they didn't just betray you, they cursed themselves. Now, no matter where they go, no matter who they meet, the weight of their deception follows them like a shadow they can't shake. The paranoia they once inflicted on you, it's now theirs to carry. The lies they spun so effortlessly, they now suspect them in everyone around them. Because deep down, they know exactly what they are capable of: manipulation, deceit, and selfish ambition. And knowing that, how could they ever trust anyone again? Every time they enter a new relationship, a seed of doubt is already planted in their mind. What if they are being used? What if someone is lying to them the same way they lied to you? Their thoughts have become a prison, their past actions replaying over and over like a haunting melody they can't silence. They look into the eyes of others and see reflections of their own betrayal staring back at them. The paranoia spreads like wildfire, infecting every interaction, every moment of vulnerability. But here's the real punishment: they can't escape it. The universe has a flawless way of restoring balance, and their own mind is now their worst enemy. Every handshake feels insincere. Every kind word sounds rehearsed. Every moment of peace is interrupted by the gnawing fear that someone, somewhere, is doing to them exactly what they did to you. And they're right, because karma doesn't let debts go unpaid. Just as they once shattered your trust, they will now experience the same heartbreak over and over, in ways they never anticipated. People they believe in will let them down. Allies will turn into enemies. Every foundation they try to build will crack beneath them, because they have already proven they cannot be trusted. But the cruelest part, they know they brought this upon themselves. They might not say it out loud, but deep inside they recognize the pattern. They see the wreckage they caused, and they know no matter how much they run, no matter how much they pretend, there is no escaping the fate they sealed the moment they betrayed you. Number 8. The web you weave will trap you. Every manipulative move has a ripple effect. They thought they could rally people against you. They gathered enablers, whispering lies, twisting reality, and convincing others to stand by their side. They manipulated, deceived, and built a false kingdom where they held the power. But what they fail to understand is that betrayal is a double-edged sword. The same web they spun to trap you is now tightening around their own neck. Karma doesn't just hit the manipulator, it infects everything they touch. It spreads like poison through their connections, unraveling every bond they once relied on. The very people who cheered them on, who turned a blind eye, who helped them get away with their games, are now starting to feel the weight of their choices. Suspicion creeps in, trust erodes, and suddenly the once solid ground beneath them starts to crack. At first, it's subtle. A close ally becomes distant. A friend hesitates before answering their calls. Conversations feel strained, tense, as if something unspoken lingers in the air. The same people who once stood beside them now start to question everything. And as the walls begin to crumble, panic sets in. The manipulator looks around and realizes there's no one left to trust. Because here's the thing about manipulation. It's never a one-time act. It's a pattern, a habit, a sickness. And those who deceive once will deceive again. The people they used to control are waking up, seeing the truth, and recognizing that if betrayal happened once, it will happen again. And so, one by one, they step back, distancing themselves before they become the next victim. The irony is brutal. The manipulator thrived on controlling others, but now control is slipping from their grasp. Their network of influence is shattering, and they can't stop it. Betrayal is eating them from the inside out. The people who once admired them now see the truth. They were never powerful, only skilled at deception. And now that their lies are exposed, they are left with nothing but the ruins of their own making. They didn't just lose you, they lost everything. The ripples of their actions have turned into a tidal wave, and there's no escaping the flood. Isolation isn't just a consequence, it's a punishment. And as they sit alone, watching everything fall apart, they will finally understand. The destruction they created was never meant for you. It was always meant for them. Number 9. Playing mind games is a slow suicide. The life you construct with lies will crush you. They thought they were masterminds, crafting a world where they held all the control, pulling strings, twisting the truth, and shaping the narrative to fit their desires. But what they didn't realize is that the more you manipulate, the more tangled you become in your own web of deception. The lies, the betrayals, the half-truths, they were never tools of power. They were bricks in the prison they were unknowingly building for themselves. At first, it seemed easy. A lie here, a twisted truth there. They believed they could say anything, do anything, and get away with it. But the problem with lies is that they demand upkeep. One lie needs another, then another, until the weight of the deception is heavier than they can carry. They're exhausted now, drained by the constant effort to keep their fake world from collapsing. The very manipulation that once gave them a false sense of control has now become their greatest burden. The victories they once celebrated, empty. The power they believed they had, fragile. The security they thought they built, shattered. Every waking moment is spent watching their back, calculating their next move, terrified that someone will see through the cracks. And deep down, they know the cracks are spreading. Their own mind is turning against them. Anxiety creeps in. Paranoia grows. The fear of exposure is more suffocating than any punishment you could ever deliver. They thought they were above the consequences, that they could manipulate people, use them, and walk away unscathed. But karma doesn't let anyone walk away clean. The energy they put into deceiving others is now consuming them from the inside out. They don't sleep peacefully. They don't enjoy their so-called success. They are haunted by the weight of their own actions. And here's the brutal truth: they built this misery with their own hands. No one forced them into this. No external force did this to them. They trapped themselves, brick by brick, with every selfish move, every betrayal, and every lie. And now, there's no way out. The harder they fight to keep their illusion intact, the faster it crumbles. The world they so desperately tried to control is slipping through their fingers, and all that's left is the cold, empty reality they created. This is the fate of those who try to manipulate the chosen ones. They don't just lose control over you, they lose control over themselves. Number 10. When you exploit the innocent, you invite divine judgment, and there's no escape. They thought they were the masterminds, the ones pulling the strings, manipulating every move. But what they failed to understand is that when they played their little games with you, they weren't just messing with an ordinary person, they were inviting forces beyond their comprehension to intervene. They mistook your kindness for weakness, your innocence for ignorance. But what they really did was sign themselves up for a reckoning they will never escape. Every deception, every calculated move, every moment they thought they had the upper hand, it was all recorded, not by human eyes, but by the unshakable balance of the universe itself. The scales always tilt back to where they belong. Their manipulation wasn't just an attack on you, it was an attack on the natural order of things. And no one disturbs the balance without paying the price. They assumed they could use you, discard you, and move forward untouched. But the universe never lets an injustice linger unpaid. The same way they plotted in secret, their downfall is now unfolding in ways they cannot see coming. What was once hidden in the dark is being dragged into the light, exposing their lies, their betrayals, their true nature. The irony: they were so focused on controlling you that they never realized they were walking straight into their own trap. Now, the same tricks they used on you are being played on them. The same betrayal they made you feel is returning in full force. They are now experiencing the consequences of their own actions, but unlike you, they have no shield, no protection, no innocence to soften the blow. Their life is no longer in their control. Every step they take to escape only pulls them deeper into their own downfall. The people they once fooled are turning against them. The situations they used to manipulate are slipping beyond their reach. And worst of all, they can feel it happening. They know, deep down, that this is no coincidence. They thought they were the ones running the show, but now they're the ones being played. And this time, there's no exit, no second chances. Karma never forgets, and justice never misses. And that, chosen ones, is the fate they sealed for themselves. They thought they could break you, but all they did was chain themselves to an endless cycle of downfall. While you rise, they remain stuck, haunted, exposed, and powerless against the karma they invited. The universe never forgets, and justice always finds its way. If you felt this truth, if you know this power within you, then don't stop here. Like this video, subscribe, and join a community that sees through the lies and stands unshaken. Your rise is inevitable. Stay tuned, because we're just getting started.